9 Eastern, 6 Pacific, right here on CNN. Here's his first guest, Oprah Winfrey, who just unveiled her new TV network, OWN.
I'm Zain Verji at CNN in London. The headlines this hour. Former dictator Jean-Claude Baby Doc Duvalier is back in Haiti after a 25-year exile in France. Crowds at the airport in Port-au-Prince cheered when Duvalier arrived unexpectedly. It's not really clear why he chose to return to Haiti now. Soldiers and tanks are patrolling the streets of Tunisia's capital, trying to prevent more of the widespread looting that happened on Sunday. They're battling armed gangs and supporters of the country's deposed president. Meanwhile, government leaders are saying they're trying to form a new unity government. Announcements could happen pretty soon. The worst of the flooding may be over in Brazil. Now it's just a matter of cleaning up and burying the dead. Brazilian authorities say at least 631 people died in the massive floods and mudslides. The military is now helping rescue those who are trapped in their damaged homes. Australia is dealing with another round of flooding too. This time, the southeastern state of Victoria is being hit with heavy rains. Rising floodwaters there have already damaged homes. At least 18 people have died from the floods in Queensland, and that's in the northeast. Those are the headlines. I'm Zain Verji at CNN London. World Business Today starts now.
Good morning from CNN London. I'm Max Foster.
And a very good afternoon from CNN Hong Kong. I'm Andrew Stevens, and a very warm welcome to our viewers in the US who are joining us here on World Business Today for the first time.
Here are the top stories on Monday, January the 17th. Gunfire, riots and looting as tourists are airlifted out of Tunisia. Neighbouring countries fear the economic contagion could spread.
China, the US, and a question of currency. President Hu calls the dollar, quote, a product of the past, ahead of his visit to Washington.
And what goes up must come down, so says the Skyscraper Index. We'll explore the correlation between building booms and economic busts. But before all of that, we want to bring you up to speed on the latest story involving Wikileaks. A Swiss whistleblower plans to give the website offshore banking information of prominent people and corporations from the US, Europe and Asia. Wikileaks was founded by Julian Assange and has released thousands of sensitive government documents in the US, of course. And the Guardian newspaper here in the UK says the names will not be made public. Our Atika Schubert will bring us details on this in the next hour. It's going to be interesting stuff. But now we're going to have a quick look at the European stock markets to see what they're doing at the start of the week as EU finance ministers get to work today on new ways of tackling Europe's debt crisis. This is how they are looking. Here in London, the FTSE is unmoved so far. In Paris, though, shares down slightly. The only upside, really, the Zurich SMI up marginally. German shares down 0.1% this hour. Let's take a close look at BP, though, because those shares are trading. Interesting viewing here in London. It's following a tie-up with Russia's state-owned Rosneft. That was announced on Friday, but after the market close. BP's share price is 508.9%. It's up nearly 2%. That's a better way of looking at it after a deal that indirectly makes the Russian government BP's biggest shareholder right now. BP has agreed to swap $7.8 billion of its shares for a 9.5% stake in Rosneft. The two companies want to drill for oil in the Kara Sea in Russia's Arctic region. And this is what's happening on the currency markets right now. The euro is down a shade against the dollar, the pound also down a fraction, and the yen creeping up this hour, Andrew.
Yeah, Max, generally a down day for the start of trading here in Asia this Monday, starting in the biggest market in the region, of course, Tokyo. Exporters higher on the back of a weaker yen, and the Nikkei, the broader index there, as you see, just barely holding its head above water. But look at the rest of the big three markets in Asia, down pretty sharply, particularly Shanghai, down more than 3%. It's been a familiar story in Shanghai. Banking and property stocks there down on concerns about inflation, which could lead to more interest rate rises in China. Now, on Friday, What sparked the fear was that Beijing increased the reserve requirements for the banks. What that means is banks now have to hold more money back on reserve, so they can't lend as much. This is the 7th time the authorities in Beijing have done that. Investors are also on edge ahead of December inflation numbers, which are due out a little later this week. We've also seen 2 interest rate rises over the past 12 months or so, and that certainly has been dragging down the Shanghai markets for the past several months. This is not a new story, but it's certainly having a very strong impact still across the investment community in Shanghai. In Sydney, meanwhile, mining